Check 1, 2.
Go! Curious about real estate?
Yes!
Then you've come to the right place. Get the knowledge you need, get over the fear, and get started. This is the Michael Quarles Real Estate Show with your host, Michael Quarles.
Hello, everybody. Michael Quarles with Podcast 18. Man, it seems like a long time since I've done a podcast. Over the last week or so, I've gotten married, went on a short honeymoon, relaxed, and here I am. I'm ready to go back to work, helping folks learn how to buy and sell houses for massive amounts of money. Today's podcast, we are going to talk about what you do to get started in this business of ours. How do you start as a real estate investor? Say you're a school teacher, you deliver mail, you drive a truck, you're an attorney, you're an engineer. Whoever you are, what steps do you have to take to become a real estate investor? I believe first and foremost, before you can even do anything in the real estate investment world, you need to know what you want to accomplish. One of the most important questions I ask everyone I coach is, where do you want to go during this 1-year coaching program I'm on with you? Where do you see yourself ending up in 1 year? What does that mean to you? Some people tell me they want to earn $100,000. Some people tell me they want to buy a house. Some people tell me they want to buy 100 houses. It doesn't matter to me where you want to go. It only matters to you. So the first thing a new investor should do is write down their goals. There's 6 areas of life that we write down our goals. When you write down your goals, you're going to write them down in a way that you're not losing anything. So say you're 250 pounds and you want to become 200 pounds. Most people would say, I have a goal of losing 50 pounds. No, you don't. You have a goal of becoming 200 pounds. If you use words like lose, quit, stop, can't, won't, then you're going to be using negative words that will ultimately erode that gorilla investor that's deep down inside you that we need to bring out, so that when you're standing in front of the seller's front door, knocking on it, stepping back 6 feet, looking up the street, as they look at you so they can open the front door, as you walk up to them and greet them and they say, thank you for inviting me out to buy your house today, is where I'm parked okay. If you're not a guerrilla investor, if you don't know everything you need to know about what to do at that very, very moment, and if you don't have the confidence to be able to follow through, get a contract from a seller at massive amounts of money, then you won't. If you don't know what you want to do. If you don't know where you want to be in a year from now, you can't get there. You cannot ask for directions if you don't know where you're going. Plain and simple. So let's set our goals. So let's say, for instance, we want to buy, Mike, I want to buy a house a month. Every month, month in, month out, I want to buy a house a month. How do I do that? Well, first set your goal. I want to buy a house a month. What does that mean? How much money do you want to make? Do you want to be a wholesaler, an assigner, a wholesaler, a rehabber? What do you want to do? You want to be passive investment? Do you want to buy houses, rent them out, collect income passively, have some appreciation on your gain over the years? Whatever you want to do, you have to decide what you want to do. But let's assume for a second again that you want to do 1 house a month. That's absolutely pretty simple. Anybody listening should be able to buy 1 house a month. First thing I want you to do after you set your goals is come up with a business name. What are you going to call yourself? You're not going to call yourself Michael Quarles Investor. That doesn't make sense. When you come up with a name, the name should represent what you do. So what do? We buy houses. I buy houses. Those 2 names are probably pretty cool. So if I had a name and I called myself I Buy Houses, I went down there, I incorporated it, I LLC'd it, I did just a DBA so I can use it. The cool part of picking out I Buy Houses as a business name is it does two things. It tells the seller what you do. No doubt in their mind. Some business cards actually don't really even say I buy houses on them. They come up with this, like sunset investing. I have no clue what that would mean. The investor knows. They came up with the name. They love the name. But sunset investing doesn't tell a seller what you do. So let's tell a seller what we do by using a name that says what we do. I buy houses. Perfect name. I buy houses in Bakersfield. I buy houses in California. I buy houses in the United States. I don't really care what else you say. Just say I buy houses. The second thing it does is it allows you the issue of not having the issue of blind advertising. Some companies that you're going to want to use for advertising will not allow you to say I buy houses without also saying sunset investors, because they don't want you to blind advertise to their audience. Well, since you are calling yourself, LLC'd yourself, incorporated yourself, DBA'd yourself, I buy houses, it's no longer blind advertising. The nice thing about doing that as well is, let's just say, for instance, you put an ad in the newspaper. They will not allow you to blind advertise in the newspaper. They want you to tell someone who you are. Well, if you go, I buy houses, Fred Smith Investors, here's my phone number, that's 3 lines. If you DBA'd I buy houses, now you can see I buy houses, your phone number, that's 2 lines. You just eliminated 1/3 of your advertising costs for newspaper classified ads. Or you spent the same amount and made your ad larger from a font perspective. So let's get a name. Let's pick a name. Let's use that name. Make that name descriptive about what we do. Stick with it and fall forward. The second thing, or the thing after the name is, folks, let's get a phone number. I don't know how many people I talk to that call me up and say, I want to do direct mail. I want to do this. I want to buy a house. I ask them, do you have a phone number? No, I don't have a phone number. Well, can we get a phone number? Ringcentral.com, easy place to get a phone number, $5 a month, plus whatever their monthly membership is. I have like 18 phone numbers with Ring Central. The reason I have so many phone numbers with them is because every time I send out a marketing piece, I want to use a different phone number. I want to be able to track my result. I want to be able to go to their data platform and say, okay, how many calls in the last 30 days came to this phone number, and I know that phone number was associated to some mail piece or some form of advertising. They all end up at the same place, but the phone numbers are different. They forward to a single phone number. The consumer doesn't care. As an example, like I have 1-800 sell for cash as a phone number, but I also have 661-369-7667. They both end up at the same spot. The consumer doesn't care. But now I want to know if my 800 number is pulling. I want to know if one of my local numbers are pulling from a postcard or a yellow letter or a zip letter or urgent envelope, whatever it is. So first thing, set your goals. Second thing, use a name that describes what you do. Third thing, get a phone number. Get multiple phone numbers. Set it up. Set a voicemail up. Set Pat Live up. Have it ring to your cell phone. Something. Now, personally, I have an infrastructure. So on my infrastructure, I can have it go to my office and have them answer. Some of my phone calls, I have Pat Live answer. Some of my phone calls, I put on a long recording, which filters for me, tells the seller all the things I do right and why they should pick me. And all 3 of those are okay for you. However, if you're going to use a voicemail or an operator system, it's extremely, 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 extremely important that you call these folks back. I have been at the kitchen table signing a contract. When the phone rang, the seller answered it, and it was an investor they called when they called me the first time. It just took that investor 3 days to call him back, and I was getting the contract. So if someone calls you, leaves a message, wants to sell you a house, call them back. The only time that I do not call a seller back is when they leave me a voicemail, and on my voicemail it asks them, how much do you want to sell your house for? And they give me an amount. And it asks them also, how much is your house worth? And they give me another amount. And the worth value is so low in comparison to what they want that it doesn't make sense for me to call them back. So they'll tell me, I think my house is worth $200,000, but I want $300,000 for it. Well, I'm not going to call that person back. That's ridiculous. I'm going to call the person back that says, my house is worth $200,000. I want $180,000 for it. I want $160,000 for it. I know that if I have someone in reality land, I can call that person back, ask questions, make an offer, actually negotiate for them to make me the offer, and buy a house. I cannot buy a house from someone in La La Land or Fantasy Land. The fourth thing we need to do. So first one, we're setting goals. Second one, we're coming up with a descriptive name. Third one, we're getting a phone number or phone numbers, determining how we want that phone to be answered. The fourth thing is I'm going to get a mailing address. I am not going to use my personal residence address on anything I do. So I want a UPS, mailboxes, etc. I want a P.O. box. If I get a P.O. box, I'm going to use the physical address of the post office, but I am not going to use my personal residence. If I have an office, I'll use my office address. If I'm a real estate agent, do not use your broker's address on any of your correspondence. Get an address, make it separate. Separate your life from your brokerage business or your realtor business or real estate agent business and go that way. The fifth thing you want to do is buy some darn business cards. They're like $30 for 1,000 or $30 for 250. I don't know. We sell them on our website. It's the red and yellow one. If you go there, red and yellow, it says I buy houses on it. It says my phone number on it. It's red and yellow, folks. That's the best business card for buying houses that there is. We sell a bunch of them, but if you want to know the one that works, it's the red and yellow one. After that, here's an important part. A lot of people don't do this one. So you set your goal. You came up with a descriptive name. You have your phone number. You have your mailing address. You've created your business card. Go buy yourself 5 polo shirts. I checked online just before this call to see how expensive it was to have really nice Nike polo shirts embroidered with your business phone number and name on the breast pocket or the breast area of the shirt. We're like less than $40 a shirt. So you can be wearing this shirt around, red, yellow, whatever your color is, with I buy houses stenciled on it or embroidered on it, in the grocery store and Subway sandwich lines, wherever you're at, and people will absolutely come up to you and ask you this question. Do you buy houses? Of course I do. Did you have a house you were hoping to sell? Oh, you do? Terrific. Tell me a little bit about your situation. Tell me a little bit about the house. Tell me, would tomorrow at 2 o'clock or 4 o'clock be better for me to come out and buy your house? Tomorrow at 2 o'clock, fantastic. All because I wore a polo shirt with I buy houses on the front of it. Oh my goodness, people. $40 and you can go buy a house. It's cool. Now, after you do all those things, you set your goals, you get your name, you get your telephone number, you get your mailing address, you get your business cards, you get your polo shirts. We better have a contract because opportunity will knock, and it will knock fast when you start telling people what you do. Now, if you don't tell anybody, you don't need the business cards. If you don't tell anybody, you don't need the phone number. If you don't tell anybody, no reason to wear that shirt. But if you are going to tell people you're a real estate investor, then we better be prepared at all times to have a real estate contract in our possession, 4 of them, all the time. You will absolutely be someplace. Someone will come up to you, see your shirt, ask you if you buy houses. You do. They'll say, I have a house to sell right now. You're going to go, You have a house to sell right now? Terrific. What time in a half an hour or an hour can I come by and buy your house? You can do that if you have a contract in your possession. You will absolutely buy houses when you are prepared. Make sense? Be prepared to buy houses. Have that contract with you. What kind of contract do you use? Do you use a realtor contract? Do you use one you get offline from some forum or some investor out there? Do you use a yellow pad? What do you do? Well, in the beginning of your career, you're not going to know which contract is better than another contract. You absolutely are not going to know that. Now, I know that my 9-page contract is much better than the California Association of Realtor contract is from a buying house perspective. From a selling house perspective, it's terrible. But from a buying house perspective, it's great. But you don't have my contract. So you're going to have to come up with one of your own. Easy. Look online, type in real estate investor contract, download it, read it, make sure it seems like it would fit for your city, your county, your state. Use it. It's better than not having one. It may be the worst contract in the world, but it's still going to be better than not having one. Because a seller, when they agree to something, it's easier to fall forward and buy the house than when you have a contract signed than when you don't. You definitely do not want to buy a house on what we call a handshake agreement. When you have a handshake contract, one of the parties can get out of it, and all your effort, everything you've done, everything you've wished for, everything you've expected, everything some people already spend the money before they buy the house. Everything you thought about will go away because you don't have a real contract. Once you buy a house, your closing company, your closing attorney, your escrow company, your title company, they're going to look at your contract and they say, this is pretty good. Oh, you missed something here. Your experience is going to help you as you go. But in the beginning, get something. Get one. Have one. If you'd like, I'm going to post my agreement that I use in California. A link to it. You'll be able to go to it. Now, it's in California. It's an agreement to purchase. It's not an agreement to sell. It's great for California, but like everything else, before you use something, you should always have something looked at by your attorney, your lawyer, someone that you trust before you use it. So I'm not giving you legal advice. I like my contract. I'll put a link up so those of you that want to download it can download it. But have a contract. So we've set our goals to buy a house a month. We came up with a name, I Buy Houses. We got a telephone number. We have a mailing address. We have business cards. We bought our polo shirts. We now have a contract. The next thing I want you to do is write down all the people that you know who live in the area that you live in, that you want to buy houses in, whether or not they own a house. I don't care. But write them all down. Mom, dad, sister, brother, best friend, co-worker, boss, barber, manicurist, whoever they are, write them all down. And I want you to call them on a monthly basis. So there's ways to do this, but for this call, this exercise, write them down on a monthly basis. You're going to call. So the call is going to go like this. And let's assume I'm talking to my best friend, Bob. Bob doesn't know I decided to become a real estate investor. I call Bob up and I say, hey, Bob, Michael. Hey, Mike, what's going on? I said, well, after long and careful consideration, I've decided I'm going to be a real estate investor, and I knew that you'd like to help. I buy houses from people that are going through foreclosure, short sale, probate, inherited. I buy houses from people that are being transferred. I buy houses from landlords who are just tired of landlords, or they have vacant properties, rundown properties, ugly houses. I buy pretty houses. And Bob, I'm going to set my business model up that I can give a seller cash and close on the day of their choice, and I knew that you would want to help me. Do you know anybody that I don't know that may be looking to buy or sell a house? You don't? Terrific. I'm going to send you over some business cards. Put your name on the back of those business cards. When you refer me, and I know you will, when you refer me to someone to buy, and I buy their house, I'm going to send you a check for $500. You can take us out to dinner. Thank you, Bob. You have a wonderful day. I'm going to call you back in 30 days Talk to you then. In the meantime, have a relationship with Bob. He's a friend. He's on your list. But do that for everybody on your list. Everybody on your list. Your manicurist, your banker, your mom, your dad, your best friend, your coworker, even those people you don't think like you. Like, not the ones that you know that hate you. Not talking about those people. I'm talking about the people that, I know them, but I don't really know them. You know, like I go to a restaurant. I like this restaurant. I mean, they see me once a week. And when I go there, they have the same waiter and the same, people. The owner comes by, says hello. Do I know they like me? I don't know. I give them money every week. I don't care. But maybe they should go on my list. Maybe next time I go in that restaurant, I say, hey, how you doing? By the way, I've been meaning to tell you that my name's Michael. I buy houses. I buy them from this kind of person, that kind of person, these other kinds of people. Do you know anybody looking to buy or sell a house? Oh, you don't? Terrific. I'm going to let you know. I'm going to keep bugging you. When I buy a house from someone you refer to me, I'm going to give you a $500 check. Not a bad tip, is it? No, it's not. Terrific. And keep doing that. Talk to people. Talk to people. Talk to people. But before you can talk to people, you have to know what to say. So practice your elevator speech. It's simple. My name's Michael Quarles with I Buy Houses. Name of my company. I buy houses from this kind of person, that kind of person, all these kinds of people. I close on the day of the seller's choice and I pay cash. And what's really cool about my program is the seller can consider their house sold. Not only sold, but sold to somebody who can afford to buy it. I buy them as is, no repairs required. I pay all the costs. Things like real estate commissions, closing costs, transfer taxes. And the seller can stay in the house as long as they need to, knowing it's sold. And they can have the peace of mind. That's what I do. Learn your elevator speech. You can memorize it. You can change it up. You can say it backwards, forwards. It doesn't really matter as long as you say it. One of my pet peeves is people will call me up and they say, Mike, I'm ready. I want to become a real estate investor. And I ask them, tell me what you do. What do you do? And they go, well, I'm a school teacher. I say, no, you're not. Not anymore. You might have been a school teacher. You might be a school teacher during the day to earn money while you're learning and becoming successful as a real estate investor. But if anybody from this day forward asks you, what do? You are a real estate investor. You buy houses from this person, that person, another kind of person. You pay for cash. You close this way. You close on the day of their choice. You buy as is, however you do it. That's who you are. That's who you want to become. You cannot be something if you don't believe you are. Man, you want to be that pitcher in the World Series last game, bottom of the ninth. You want to strike the side out. You want to get out of that game. You want to win. Throw that touchdown. Become that person that you want to be by telling people that's what you are. And don't hide it. I don't care if you sold Amway, if you sold Tupperware, if you failed at something in the past. We have all failed. Stand up. Tell people who may think that you have failed, this I am not going to fail at. I am going to be a real estate investor and start passing out those darn cards. By the time you get through 1,000 business cards, you will have bought a house from someone you don't know. All you have to do is pass them out and say, my name is Michael Quarles. I buy houses. Do you know anybody looking to buy a house? Oh, you don't. How long have you lived in the house you're at? You've lived there 7 years. Do you own it or are you renting? Oh, you own it. Well, where'd you move from? You moved from South Carolina. How exciting. Well, if you were going to move, where would you move next? Oh, you'd move to Oregon. Wow. When would you like to be in Oregon? You'd like to be in Oregon in 6 months? That sounds terrific. Now, question, would you like to be sold in 6 months or would you like to start selling in 6 months? Oh, you'd like to be sold in 6 months? Oh, terrific. You know, in today's marketplace, it takes about 6 months to sell a house. Let's do this. Let's set an appointment for me to come over to your house tomorrow between either at 4 or at 6, and I'll buy it. Great. 6 o'clock works for you? I'm just going to ask you a couple more questions. Is the house currently listed with a real estate professional? It isn't. Terrific. What do you think it's worth in today's marketplace? Oh, you think it's worth $240,000. What were you hoping to sell it for? Knowing that I pay cash, can close on the day of your choice, pay all the costs, all the commissions, all the fees. I buy him as is, so there's not going to be any work required. And you can have the peace of mind knowing your property sold, not only sold, but sold to somebody who can afford to buy it. How much were you hoping to sell it for? You were hoping to sell it for $180,000. Really? I'm not saying I can, but if I could, you'd sell me the house for $180,000? Terrific. Let's simply set a time for me to come out and buy the house. Folks, it's easy. You've got to know your elevator speech. You've got to know what to say when someone wants to talk to you, or even if they don't talk to you. How do you talk to a stranger? You're in line at the Subway sandwich place. I mean, someone in front of you just ordered 15 Subway foot-long sandwiches for the office, and they happen to be, two people in front of you, and the line's not moving, so here comes the line. You've been there with me. So everybody's waiting for these 15 subs in front of them to get done, but no one's talking. Man, talk to that person in front of you. Talk to that person behind you. Easy to talk to them. Man, you got some girl in front of you, some female in front of you. Two things on that female you can talk about: purses and shoes. Strike up a conversation saying, man, that's the most beautiful purse I've seen today. She is going to fall in love with you. Man, that's a gorgeous pair of shoes. Where'd you get those? She's going to fall in love with you. Oh, by the way, my name's Michael Quarles. I buy houses. I buy them from this person, that person, another person. Do you have a house? Do you want to sell? Do you know anybody looking to sell a house? Have a conversation. Strike up a conversation. You got a guy in line with you. Man, he's 17 feet tall. He must like basketball. Let's face it, probably played basketball. He's 17 feet tall. Did you hear about the game the other night? Listen to sports radio in the morning. Get some details of what to talk about during the day. 15 minutes of sports radio will give you all the ammunition you need to strike up a conversation with someone you don't know about a topic that may be interesting to them. Guys, sports, girls, shoes, and purses. And I know, men, we don't look at shoes and purses. But you can tell that a girl likes her shoes and purse. You want me to tell you how you can tell if someone likes their shoes and purse? They are wearing it and holding it. No one wears ugly shoes and no one holds ugly purses. It may be the ugliest darn thing you've ever seen in life, but it's not to them. So strike up a conversation. Talk about buying houses. Talk about selling houses. Ask for referrals. Get business cards. Follow up. Be the walking, talking real estate investor you want to be, and you will become that person. Now here's the next one. You got your name. You've got your telephone number. You've got your mailing address. You've got your business cards. You've got those polo shirts. You've got those contracts ready to go. You know your elevator speech. Man, you are ready, but you don't have anybody to buy a house from yet. Everything you've done is getting ready. So who do you buy that house from? Well, let me tell you this. You spend 6 hours and 20 minutes. 6 hours and 20 minutes, all you have to spend. If you spend 6 hours and 20 minutes on the telephone calling people you do not know and asking them this question. You ready? Here we go. Ring, ring, ring. Someone answers the phone. I'm going to say, hi, my name is Michael Quarles with I Buy Houses. We're looking for 3 and 4 bedroom homes in your neighborhood, and I was wondering, who do you know that's planning on moving? A couple things could happen. You could hear click, tells you to hang up and call somebody else. Apparently they didn't have a house to sell. You could hear, I don't know anybody. Or you could hear, yeah, we've been thinking about selling. It's weird. We put our house on the market yesterday, or we're going to put our house on the market tomorrow. If you call for 6 hours and 20 minutes and talk to an average of 16 people an hour, I know for a fact that you're going to get an appointment with a seller to buy a house. I know for a fact that if you get 9 of those appointments, you're going to buy a house. 6 hours to get an appointment, 9 of those appointments buy a house, $50,000 later. Oh my goodness gracious. But most people go, hey, Mike, I can't cold call. I'm afraid. I don't know what to say, who to call, how to do it. Folks, hi, my name is Michael Quarles with I Buy Houses. We're looking for 3 and 4 bedroom homes in your neighborhood. We were wondering, who do you know that's planning on moving? 3 things that are going to happen. Like I said, click, no one, I am. Great. If anybody wants the script, I'll put it on this podcast information. It's simple. Call them, call them, call them, call them. The next thing, you haven't bought a house, you want to buy a house, you're ready to buy a house, you don't have anybody wanting to sell you a house. The next thing you do is you're going to look in the newspaper on Sunday or Saturday. And you're going to go to every friggin' open house that's being advertised by anybody. Real estate agent, for sale by owner, anybody. Go to these open houses. Guess what? They want to sell a house. Guess what you do? You buy houses. Isn't that a marriage made in heaven? You're going to go out to this seller. You're going to walk through the door and say, hello, my name is Michael Quarles, I buy houses. Thank you for having an open house so I can come out and buy your house today. Woohoo! They're going to think, man, we just sold our house. And start making a negotiation. Start talking about values. Determine if their price is correct. Maybe their price is low. What's their motivation? Ask them, why are you selling? We're selling because we're having a job transfer. Oh my goodness, you're having a job transfer. Were you going to have this one vacant if you can't sell, or you can't do the job transfer until this one sells? Oh, no, we can't get on with our life until we sell this one. Oh, or yeah, we're going to leave this one vacant. And either one of those things are a negative. Point it out. Do you know what happens when you have a house that's vacant? They cancel the insurance on it. Do you know what happens if you can't get on with your life? All kinds of things because you can't get on with your life. But have the conversations. Go to open houses. Don't be afraid. You can't make any mistakes. There's absolutely nothing that you can do wrong. Absolutely. Because everything you do is better than what you would have done if you didn't go. The only mistake you can make is not going. It's an open house. They're asking you to come out and buy their house. Now, what if you see someone that has a for sale by owner sign in their house in the front of their house, and it's not an open house? So it's not Saturday or Sunday. They just have this sign out that says, I want to sell my house. Please buy it. Go knock on the door. You've got contracts in your car. You've got business cards on you. You're wearing a polo shirt. They know what you do. You've got it. You've got everything you need. Yeah, but Mike, I don't know if it's a good price or not. Who cares? Really? Do we really care? Let's get this thing under contract. And the worst case, we get it under contract, we determine, and we just paid too much for that thing. You get out of the contract. You have a clause that says after I do my inspections, after I determine what I don't know about the house. I mean, shoot, in California, it's called a transfer disclosure statement. Most states have them. Most contracts have the ability for you to inspect the house to determine what you didn't know. And if you find something out that caused you to say, I can't buy the house, you can get out of it. But you can't get out of a contract unless you have one. You got a for sale by owner sign in the front yard. You have a house, you have a seller, you have a contract, you have business cards, you got a polo shirt. Buy a house. Simple. Do you know how you know if a price is great or not? It's simple. You go up to this house, you say, thank you for, well, they didn't invite you, so you can't say thank you for inviting me out to buy your house today. You can say, hey, I'm here to buy your house today. Is this a good time? Yes, it is. Terrific. Can you show me the house? You go through the house. You point out all the negative things about the house. You don't point them out like, say, this is a negative thing. I mean, if you got a hole in the wall, you can rub the hole. You can rub your hand on the hole in the wall and go, that's going to have to be fixed. Seller's going to say, yeah, that has to be fixed. We've been meaning to fix that forever. I bought a house from a contractor. General building contractor. I bought a house from a guy who said, when I walked into the kitchen, yeah, I've been meaning to fix the kitchen ceiling for a while now. It was so bad there wasn't a kitchen ceiling. Like the sheetrock had fallen down. Being a general contractor, he's been wanting to fix it for a while. I just told him, no big deal. I buy houses as is. I don't see anything. I can get you out of this house, get you on your way, and you can have what you want. Isn't that what you want? And they go, yeah, I bought a house. People, they're just that way. Just expose it. I mean, they already know they have an ugly house. So we don't really necessarily have to tell them. We just have to expose it so they can say it themselves. Hey, I have an ugly house. When you do your bathroom inspection, your kitchen inspections, do all this stuff. Look for all these things. Point it out. Set a price. But how do you know if it's a great price? But Mike, how do I know? I've never bought a house before. How do I know it's a great price? Well, if it's embarrassing, like I'll buy it for your house for $1. If it feels like, man, no one's ever going to take $1 for a house, that's probably a good price. You know, I know everybody will take $1 billion for their house. Pretty much everybody. Maybe there's a person in the world that would want more than $1 billion. Not my seller. I'm not going to hang out in that neighborhood. But most people, yeah, I know if I give them a price and I'm a little bit like, man, that's a low price. Man, that's obviously a good price. Then if they accept it, I can be pretty confident that I've done a good job. If I have to go, I want them to accept it. I better give them a better price because I really want this thing. And, well, don't do that. Name your price. It's your price. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? They're going to ask you to leave. You weren't there in the first place. You didn't have anything before you got there, so you can't lose it. You can only gain something by getting a contract signed at a price that you want to get it signed at. Get a contract signed. No big deal. Have your inspections done. Determine if what you signed was okay. If it was, close. Yeah, but Mike, I don't have any money. How do you close on a deal without any money? Well, great question. What do you want to do? Do you want to buy it seller financing? Do you want to buy it with conventional financing? Do you want to buy it with cash? Do you want to buy it subject to the existing loan? How do you want to buy it? I don't know. I've never bought a house before. Well, let's do this then. Let's enter into a transaction with the seller contingent upon financing of some sort. We don't know yet what. Contingent upon financing. And then when you get that agreement signed, call your coach, call somebody, determine how to get the money, find it out. It's what coaching's all about. We teach people how to buy houses without cash. Determine how to buy that house without cash, or with cash if you have it, and what price you should have paid for it, or how to renegotiate the contract that you signed, or whatever it is that we have to do. But don't let the fact that you don't know how to do something stop you from getting a contract signed. Now, here's the warning, though. If you absolutely do not have the cash to buy a property, don't tell the seller you're going to buy it with cash. Don't get a seller excited that they don't have to do anything else. They can rest assured that they have a buyer who can buy the house with cash. If you don't have the cash, don't enter in that agreement. That's wrong. But if you have a coach and the coach tells you how to buy a house without cash and you know how to do that, that's fine. Or tells you how to get the loan, that's fine. Remember, the deals that we do, the seller wants to sell. So we're not creating motivation with our offer. They've already got the motivation. They already want to sell. There's already an underlying reason for them to sell. They're already going down this direction. Most of the sellers that I've bought houses from have said this to me. Mike, and I bought a lot of houses by people, a lot of houses. People, they'll tell me, they go, Mike, we know you're going to make money on our house. We don't care. We just want to know it's sold. And your offer's fine. And I never make offers. They always make me the offer. It's great. It's brilliant. When you know how to get a seller to make you an offer that you can say yes to, oh my goodness, your life will change. So they make me an offer. I just say yes. I either buy it subject to the existing loan, seller financing. I might give them cash. I might get a hard money loan. It doesn't matter. I'm buying it at 60 cents on the dollar. When you buy a house for 60 cents on the dollar, your upside is tremendous. Upside is tremendous. I mean, 60 cents on the dollar, you can go out and get money anywhere. That money will, it'll cling to that house like that house is magnet if you have a contract at 60 cents on the dollar. Let's face it, the worst thing that will happen to you, you sign the contract to somebody for, pennies on the dollar. Be crazy to do that, but a lot of you will. If you had a coach that could teach you how to not have to do that, that would be better. So, carry those contracts, get those business cards, learn your elevator speech, talk to strangers, cold call, visit open houses. Now, you visited this open house. You got this house under contract. You're excited. Man, everybody is excited. Woo! We're going to make some money! But how do you close it? Where do you go? Who do you talk to? So before you get too involved, set yourself up a relationship with a closing attorney, an escrow company, a title company. Know who it is that you're going to send the seller to the next day, where you're going to meet with the seller. You're going to have your closing opened, or your escrow open, depending on where you're at. You're going to have the seller sign a memorandum of contract, which is telling the world that you have a right to buy the house. It's a recorded document. I'm sorry. It's a recorded document, but it's more importantly a notarized document. So you're going to ask the seller to bring their current ID, driver's license kind of thing with them, proof of who they are. You're going to open up escrow, but you need to know where that is and who you're going to open it up with. So have already set up a relationship with a closing company, a closing attorney, and be able to say Billy Bob at Billy Bob's title insurance company or escrow company is who I used. They're over there on Main Street. Let's meet there tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. I need you to bring current and ID, driver's license or identification card, any documents you have from your lender. If you have your warranty deed or grant deed, I need you to bring that with you. If you don't, it's okay. They'll be able to pull that up. I'm going to leave you with this statement of identity and have that filled out. Basically, it's a form that, if you've been married, if you've lived in other places, because what happens is, especially with common names, and a lot of people have common names, is there'll be someone with your name or a similar name that may have tax liens or child support liens that are against them that will attach to property that they own, and we don't want that to attach to this property. So that this form allows us to find out all those things. I bring that up because I never want to go through escrow and find out 3 weeks later or 4 weeks later that my seller had those issues, and then I can't buy. So we want to make sure that we talk about the topic in advance. We get that form. Escrow closing company is going to need that form. That's how they do title searches. So get it, have it ready for you. It's going to be part of your contract, not part of it, but included in the material you give them, and have them bring it with you to the escrow company. You don't need to take a copy of it. It has confidential information on it. In fact, you shouldn't take a copy of it. You should just let the escrow company have it, and then fall forward and buy the house. That's pretty much what you want to do. You want to get prepared. You want to be ready. You want to set a goal that you want to buy a house. You want to get a name. You want to get some business cards. You want to get a phone number. You want to get a mailing address. You want to look like and act like you're a real estate investor. You want to tell people that's what you are. You want to call your friends and ask them who they know. You want to talk to strangers and ask them who they know. You want to cold call on purpose and make appointments. You want to see for sale by owners and buy some houses. You want to get a contract. You want to have that handy. You want to carry that with you at all time. You want to be ready. Be ready, because the more ready you are, the more success you'll have. I can't tell you enough that you've got to be prepared. And don't look at anybody like they're not an opportunity. I mean, we're not harming anybody. We're not hurting anybody. We're helping people. I've told people a lot. I don't buy houses. I buy problems. I solve problems. Man, when I bought that house from the judge, here's a guy that probably had more money than I did. I don't know. He sure looked like it. But he had a house. He said, Mike, I know you're going to make 60 grand, which, quite frankly, I made more on the house than I paid for the house. I made more than 60 grand. But he had a reason for selling it to me, and it's okay. Just be ready. Be ready to buy a house. Don't be afraid of not knowing what you don't know. Get a coach. Have someone that you can call and say, hey, mentor me. I want to buy houses, but I don't know how to set value. Well, great. We'll teach you that. But don't be afraid. Get going. Start. This analysis paralysis issue is horrible. Man, you will wait and wait and wait and wait and wait. And remember that every day someone buys a house for profit. Every day that you wait, you're losing whatever you think you want to make. And I know I want to make $52,000 every time I buy a house. Every time I buy a house, I see $52,000. That number nets me, get this folks, that number nets me $27,000. Yeah, there's some expenses in life and business and advertising and all that kind of stuff. But when you can make a net of $27,000 each house that you buy, and I know that you can buy 12 houses a year. You may not know it yet, but I know you can buy 12. I don't know what 12 times 27 is. What is that, 324,000? That's a lot of money. What would you do if 1 year from tomorrow you had an extra $324,000 in your checking account? I know what I do. I'm going to go down and buy my Bentley. But what would you do? By the way, that Bentley Continental V12, beautiful car. It's been fun. Thank you for letting me take a week off. I will be back at whoever is listening here in just a couple days. Stay tuned. Keep reading the blogs. I appreciate everybody. If you're listening to this on iTunes, tell them you like it. Don't tell them you don't like it if you don't like it. But if you like it, tell them you like it. Thanks so much. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Michael Quarles Real Estate Show. Get more info and stay in touch at michaelquarles.com.